What do you then think is maybe some of the obstacles that people face when it comes to understanding the impact of grief on your intimacy as well as other relationships?
The impact of grief on understanding. I think that there is in a level of reorientation that happens in grief where where you are reforming your identity. Like, who am I post loss? And I think going through something so intense and incredibly meaningful at the same time, there's so much nuance. Like, there can be meaning and beauty embedded within pain at the same time. And I think that just being really gentle and patient with that process, particularly in the first, year, but 2 years really. I mean, I'm 2 months out from the 2 year anniversary of my husband's passing. And I'm still very surprised at the way that I'm unfolding in this journey. And in approaching it with curiosity and compassion, as opposed to expectation, like, oh, I should be any certain way by this point in time. Like, there is no should. Like, this is unprecedented. I've never been through this before. And just having a lot of compassion for that.
I remember when I've lost two people that were close to me. One was a friend many years ago during COVID. And so that was what, 2020, 2021. And then my grandmother, December of last year. And both impacted me differently. When I lost my friend, I didn't know grief directly. So I went to a few people at that time. But the first person I went to was my girlfriend at that time for support. Like a lot of people, right? Like once you can't get something for yourself, you go to your partner and then you go to your friends. I found that the person was very unsupportive. And when you mentioned intimacy, it reminded me of that because what I had to do is the person was trying to support me through offering sex. But at that time, it wasn't what I wanted. And for the men out there, yes, men always want sex, calm down. But it wasn't what I wanted at that point in time. And then I began to realize later on that some people, when they offer something, it's all that they have to offer. And some people who lead with sex, who lead with money, that's what they're going to offer because maybe they don't put any significant value in anything else. When you experience it through your with your spouse, what were some of the support that you needed during that time, but maybe you got it and maybe you didn't get it? And why?
I'm so glad that you framed this question in this way and that you asked it. I have found, that in so many ways, like people, like just like what you experienced, that people show up um, at the capacity that they have. And it's not always the capacity that matches the need of the moment. And I have found that a lot of times the um, the discomfort that is inherent in our culture today with death and grief tends to fall back on the bereaved, where people they don't know what to say, and so sometimes they'll just distance themselves because they don't want to say the wrong thing, or they don't want to make you feel worse. I'd say like my biggest response to that is like, you can't make me feel worse. I already feel all of the things, like I'm already sad. Like, you bringing up my husband isn't going to make me more sad. I'm thinking about him constantly. Um, but I'd say the biggest thing for me, the biggest sort of void was that I really, really wanted and needed my parents to be present for me and just show up. Like, I didn't need them to buy me anything. I didn't need financial support. I just needed people to just be present and witness me as I'm going through this, very monumentally transformative and painful moment. And um, they just, that was something that was not within their realm of capability. And I'm still reckoning with that, and it's still quite challenging. Um, but I'll also say that with respect to what you shared about your experience, I found that when after my husband passed away, like this was a time for ultimate presence, like uh to be available to what I was experiencing and feeling without masking or covering it up with drugs or alcohol or sex or I mean anything can be a masking agent in certain circumstances, exercise, work, like all sorts of things. And I really wanted to allow myself to feel what I was feeling, because in previous experiences of my life I have gone the masking route. And I know that to be more like a slingshot, like it's gonna make it so much worse for me in the future if I don't cope with what I'm experiencing now.